Hey folks, welcome to Guitar Daily. It's Nick Granville coming to you from Wellington, New Zealand. So today I thought I'd talk about how to approach starting a guitar solo, right? A lot of times people sort of get confused by this, right? And there's sort of three main ways we can kind of talk about this that should help you. If you're wanting to start a solo, it's contextual, of course. You know, if you're playing in a jazz group, it's going to be different from, say, in a pop group, but some things are the same across all of them. And the first thing I would say is if you start too busy, where can you go from it, right? You can't. You can only really go downwards, right? But if you start simple, then you've got some room to kind of build. So something like this, for example. And then maybe I'll leave a little gap, and then... Right, I'll leave a little gap for a while. And then a little gap. Right, and then as I'm going, I get busier and busier and busier, and I'm sort of building towards something, right? And I think that's quite important, to have some sort of shape to what you're going to do with your solo, right? So if you start simple, you got room to build. That's the first thing I would say, is start simple, give yourself some scope to go somewhere. Second thing I would say is probably the least interesting note you can start on is the root note, right? To me, there's something about root notes that feel finished. If I have a D minor chord, and I play... It's like, it's a finish, not a start, right? So I usually try and find a note to start from that's not the root note. Now, sometimes it just makes sense to use the root note. There's no hard and fast rules with any of this, right? But this is just like general guidelines. So one of my favorites is to start from the fifth. So if I start from A, and we're in D minor, and I start with an A note, it's like, I provide a sound that's not going to be too jarring against the chord or too colourful or whatever, but now I've got somewhere to sort of go from there, right? And without it feeling finished. To me, root notes feel like it's finished. Now, sometimes it makes sense, right? But that's what I'd say. So start simple and try and find a note to start from that kind of grabs people's attentions. If you check out Wes Montgomery, he was a master of that. Almost every solo, he started with something that kind of captured your attention. You went, oh. You know what I mean? It made you stand up and pay notice to what he was doing rather than that, right? So that's a really good approach, right? Starting from the fifth, or starting from another note that's not the root note, right? Maybe the minor third if it's a minor chord or whatever. If you start well, your solo stands a chance to go somewhere, right? If you don't start well, I haven't generally seen people recover solos part way through. Just doesn't happen. Start badly, end badly tends to be how it goes. Start well, it stands a chance of getting somewhere. Now, it doesn't always go like that, but that's kind of generally a thing. And the third thing I would say that really helps, especially in a pop context, if you're playing like a pop rock gig, is do something that relates to the melody, right? So if the singer kind of ends a phrase and they end on the ninth, and maybe they played a little rhythmic thing, then maybe you could kind of start from the ninth with a similar rhythmic thing to sort of pick up from where they left off. So the singer did this, and you're going to kind of take that and run with it. Sort of like they passed you the ball, and you continue running with it. So say the melody was, I don't know, the singer went, you might, from there you might go, so you see I incorporated that little minor pentatonic type run, and a lot of blues and soul singers will do that kind of stuff over pop songs, right? But I incorporated that into one of my opening licks to set the scene for the solo. That can be a really good idea, right? You take something off the melody, and then from there you can kind of run with it, so to speak. Another way of doing it could be to play something that contrasts to what's happening, right? So I kind of look at it and I go, well, I'm still relating to what the singer does, but say the singer did something very busy. I might do something really long and pretty to contrast it. Maybe I'll go... Something like that, where I'm just sort of playing long, sort of almost singing lines. You notice there I started from the root note, right? And the reason for that is I had this idea to take the root note and just descend downwards, right? And that might not necessarily relate to what the singer does directly, but you're sort of, again, you're picking up from their idea. If they're doing something busy, then I contrast it by doing something really sparse and long. Or maybe they're doing something really sparse and long and I could do something busy, right? But generally having the melody included in your solo is a good idea. right? Because it relates it. Often I find when people play solos is they kind of go off on some departure. Right now in a bebop sense, that's kind of part of the music, right? You have the melody, and then people when they play their solos, they play related to the chord changes rather than the melody. That's a thing, right? But in a lot of other contexts, you might just want to play part of the melody because again, it kind of ties it back. Right, that's Ain't No Sunshine, right? You might go. You see there, I never really actually played the melody to the song, did I? But it was close enough, it was related to it, I hit on certain notes that were related to it. So that's another way of doing it, right? Again, it comes to that third point I was making, that we're relating to what the vocal is, the melody line. And the melody line could be a sax player, it doesn't have to be a vocal, but I'm just using that as an example. So we're taking whatever's happened before us with the melody, and we're running with it, right? And there, largely what I was doing was taking the rhythm of the melody and putting my own set of notes to it. But sort of similar phrasing and similar stuff like that. Anyway, I hope that helps with how to start your solos. So to recap, first point we want to do is to start simple so that we can go somewhere. Second point, try not to play the root note too much, right? Maybe start from the fifth or start from the third or start from another note that's kind of a little more interesting, because that, gives us, again, something to build to. And the third one is take whatever's happened before you, the melody, and run with it and take it somewhere else, right? And the last point, this is kind of a bonus point, I would say. It's not related to how to start a solo, but this is kind of a good way to finish it, is know when to end your solo. It's one thing that I hear with young players a lot, is they kind of just keep playing and playing and playing because they don't know when to stop. And they kind of overdo their welcome, so to speak, right? So yeah. Anyway, hope this has been useful. My name's Nick Granville. I'm from Wellington, New Zealand. I'm a professional musician. This is what I do, is play guitar. I do all kinds of things, from session work to I play with orchestras, I do theatre shows, I put out some albums. If you want to get this one, this is my reamped album. You can get it for free on Bandcamp. It's linked below. Check it out. I just want you to hear it. I hope you like it. It was a fun album. It's sort of a funky groove album with blend of funk, rock, blues, a lot of jazz harmony, although I wouldn't call it a jazz album. So check it out. Hope you like it. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe and please like and drop me a comment below and let me know what you think. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow for Guitar Daily. Cheers.